Okay, here we go. Oh, Marian again? Marian?
Shinobu, nice to meet you.
Shinobu? Okay. It's like, oh, I haven't started. All right, can you tell me about your background and where you were born?
I was born here in Torrance, California, down south. And then I moved here with my parents when I was about 5.
What was your experience like growing up or living in the United States during your younger years?
It was a different time when I moved here. And when I went to kindergarten through like 6th grade here, I was the only Asian kid. So I didn't know anything else. So I didn't really have problems. It was just, I didn't know I was different until I went to college.
Ah, yes, yes. How did your ethnicity influence your experience in school, if you went, or your community?
I was very involved with our Asian community in Los Angeles. So my parents we lived up here, but we went down frequently in the Japanese community. So I had Japanese friends, just not at school. It's just like 2 different lives.
Oh. Like, does your parents, like, can you describe like any experience about your parents about immigration in the United States, if ever they did it? If ever?
My mom is a United States citizen. She came here when she was 20. My dad has a green card, and they got married in the 80s. So I haven't dealt with anything immigration wise.
Yes.
But they are from Japan, so that's their
Yes.
first language. And when I was younger. Even now, I'm still an interpreter for them for a lot of
Yes.
things. But with immigration solely, we really didn't have to deal with that.
Oh, okay. So, how was your life affected your opportunities and experience in here in United States?
I've had a lot of good opportunities here. I went to college. I went to grad school. I had a scholarship for grad school. So I went to AV college for a little bit before I moved to a 4-year college, and then went to USC. So I think it really helped mold how I am.
Yes.
But my parents are very hardworking. They're high school level graduation. They graduated high school. No college. I was the first person to go to college in my family. It's a lot of pressure, I think, for me and my sibling or my brother, but I think it was healthy. They didn't push us that much. We're not the typical Asian family that gets pushed a lot.
Yes, yes. You got to be a
So-
doctor and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, but it was healthy. It was healthy to have that kind of push compared to a lot of my high school classmates.
Ah, yes. Were you involved in any social justice movements? If so, can you share your experience and impact of your involvement? Like, if so,
Social justice, not so much here. I didn't think there was growing up. I mean, I'm way older than you.
yes, yes.
So it was very white America here
Yes,
when I was
yes.
growing up. I didn't realize it until I went to college when there's more people that look like me. And then they taught me a lot about social, like in college. Like
Yes,
you learn
yes.
more about I think I was very sheltered here with my group of friends from kindergarten to God knows how long. And then it was different when I went to college. But I learned more about even my history, my own history, my culture, just other Asian people in general. I didn't
Yes.
have I didn't have that opportunity here, so it was very important to pass on to my kids.
Yes. All right. How do you think broader historical events and policies have shaped your personal experience and those of your community?
I mean, Asian people are considered a model minority. I think that's just a very negative term for us.
Yes.
But growing up, it was what I knew. It was, get this straight A's, get the top of your class. But that doesn't do anything. I don't think it's just on paper. It's
Yes.
not really,
It's not really like, in general.
yeah, and it's not very helpful to anybody else other than yourself.
Yes.
And it's actually a disadvantage to yourself because you put on more stress onto yourself. So I think it was just, I think I lost what your question was.
Yeah, I think you already answered it,
Uh-huh.
and it's not really like experience it. You don't really like experience those.
I
kind of
did
stuff,
not
yeah.
here growing up. I mean, this is the Antelope Valley. It's not like
Yes,
something
yes.
where
It's not like down.
yeah, it's
down
very
there.
different.
Reflecting on your life, what changes have you seen in the area of race, immigration, gender, sexuality, and class in the United States?
I mean, it's a big difference when I was a kid, and
Yes.
30 years from now on before, it's totally different. I think you see more representation on TV and your politicians. You see actually people that look like you, and then that's a
Yes.
good thing for my kids, right? Uh, when I was growing up, I always thought it was like a big house on TV with white parents and have like a dog and things like that. And that's not always the case. I mean, for some people it is, but for most of us it isn't. So I've seen a big shift in representation, but it's still not enough.
Yes.
And then the political climate now is way different than it was probably 5 years ago before COVID. So again, we're still learning and kind of kind of figuring out what's going to happen in 2025
Ah,
and
yes,
things
ma'am.
like that.
Can you share a specific moment or event that significantly impacted your views on race or ethnicity?
I work in the healthcare field, so and then I work primarily with older Americans. So it was like any job is customer service. So you hear a lot in that population about how they feel. They have no filter. So you hear a lot about how they feel about our current situation,
Yes.
border security, crime. So that shaped how I um, gather that information and kind of do my own research. And a lot of time, what they say is false. So it's kind of it makes me wonder how much everybody knows, or even myself. So I think it's always to just keep an open mind and
Yes.
do your own research.
How did your family's immigration story shape your identity and sense of belonging in the United States?
I mean, it's still a work in progress. It's always going to be. It's you coming here. I mean, living, being raised here. You were an outsider, and looking back, before you don't feel like, 'cause when you're a kid, you don't see color. But looking back, it's like, oh, this is not a nice memory as I remember.
Yes.
But I think there's only. I mean, there's two ways to handle it, right? You dwell on it and think negatively of it and just be stuck in your hole, or you just make something out of it and learn from it. So I hope I pass that down to my kids and my community, and hope they're more involved and more 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 politically aware than I was
Oh,
growing
yes.
up.
All right. Last three questions. What role did education play in your life, and how did it intersect with your experience of race, gender, and class?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Ever.
it's a huge. I think that's the one thing that most of us should have, that opportunity to grow and do something through education, scholarships, just being aware. It's not even college getting your degree. It's the experience of college, like making new friends, seeing people from all different countries, the backgrounds, like people who were born. Like I have best friends that were born in the Midwest that I would have never ever met if I didn't go to college,
Yes.
or people from Nigeria that are my friends and my roommates, like that I would have never ever experienced if I didn't go to college. So yeah, the degree is great. You could get go do whatever, but it's the experience itself that molds you as a person, and you remember that forever. So I always tell my friends I want my kids to go to college, but not for the degree. It's more for the that 4 years you get to
And
kind
more
of grow.
career opportunities.
Yeah.
Or, have you faced any discrimination or prejudice? If so, how did you handle those situations?
Yeah, I think so. I think we all do when you're not the majority race or culture in this country. But I think in California in general, we're very in a bubble. We're very very in a bubble compared to, especially in Southern California. So even though I went to college in a major city and things like that, when I did a road trip driving up north from here, like from LA to Washington, it's a big difference in some parts of the even in California. So yeah, you don't feel welcome. And it's like you pay for your gas and you leave. You don't make chit chat. They don't want you in your town. So it's kind of like as a female traveling alone, and you do that. You just get your gas and go. But I hope that yes. Do I hope that changes? Yes. But will it change? Probably not for a long time. So I have experienced that, and it's still alarming because we live in 2024. But that's the reality of it. Is kind of being aware.
Oh yes. Yes, all right. Last question. What advice would you give to younger generation about navigating issues related to race, immigration, gender, sexuality, and in class today in U.S. society?
Um, I don't. I just think you just have to be aware that everybody's different. That's
Yes.
all. You don't have to try to walk in their shoes. There's no way you can walk in other people's shoes. But just be aware you can't, right? You don't know how it feels like to be that other person, or another gender or sexual, whatever it is. You just need to let them live their life and respect them. You don't have to be best friends, but just be aware that people are different than you and be okay with it.
All right. All right. Thank you. All right.
Good
Is it
luck.
okay if like I buy you some McDonald's for the kids?
Don't worry about it. Thank you.
I'll
Good
be
luck.
back though. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.